Hey there, kids! Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. Howdy! I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. Spent it with my awesome fiance Renee down in North Carolina. So spent 4 days with her. It was very, very nice. We had a great time. And hope you guys had a wonderful time too. So we're back. We are back. We're gonna get back to work on this thing, making good progress. All of that. I'm gonna have probably another installment of the super secret project a little bit later on today for the channel members and everything. A little bit more progress on that, which is looking really, really good. I'm kind of excited about it. Yeah, all that is good stuff. Now, also, the big thing, remember, if you're out and about on the interwebs, go get you some... Don't forget about that. Don't forget about that. Get you some Mecha Decals. They're really, really good. Really good. And then also, too, if you did not know, if you live under a rock, the Child of Mecha store is open. Go get you some cool stuff. I think I actually have a couple shirts coming today. Yeah, it'll be good. Shop.childofmecha.com. We've got shirts, hoodies, hats, stickers, posters, you name it, we got it. It's all good stuff. So shop.childofmecha.com. Go support your boy. All right. So with that being said, let's catch up with everybody in the chat real quick. Let's see. Bill started us off here. He got in there before Universal Chat picked it up, but he said, "Howdy, y'all. Let's get this Tutelage Tuesday started with a bang." I like it. I like it. And then Julius said, came in right after him, and he says, "I hope everyone had a great weekend." Yeah, it was good. It was good. Sorry, I just got a message on my phone, but that can wait. All right, and then let's see. Blaze is with us. What's going on, dude? Blaze sent me a picture of that big, massive, the Living Dead Squad sticker on his truck, and it looked amazing. So, Blaze, have you gotten any comments on it or anything as of yet? Because it's big. It's big. Let's see. Blaze says, Bill, it's a great day. Work got canceled due to weather. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, Bill says, is there a Category 5 hurricane hitting your city? But he says, I work outside digging up meter boxes and stuff. Oof. Okay. And it's an absolute downpour in my area till 2, so rather than us sit all day waiting for 1 hour of work, we get the day off. Oh, nice. Shit. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Look at that, Blaze. You get to watch the live stream. Nice. Swanky's with us. He says, hello, everyone. What's going on, dude? Gio is also with us. He says, hello, everyone. Mikey Dawson, he's with us. He says, hello. Enrico, he says, hey, modelers, we are back. Yes, we are. Blaze says, it doesn't happen often enough, Bill. Nice. Bill says, well, Tutelage Tuesday is here, and my dunce cap is ready. Oh, jeez. Let's see. Gio says, I'm making progress on the real grade Tall Geese. I guess Bandai announced another Exia. The Alex. It's not Alex, it's Arax. From the new series, the kit looks like an Exia. I am going to be driving for the next hour. Oh, man, drive safe, dude. Ranger Chris is with us. He says, morning, Tim. How's it been? It's been pretty dang good. Like I said, I was in North Carolina for the weekend, so yeah, Great, great, great 4 days. Gio says, I guess this new series, this new series, I guess Bandai is reusing everything again. The name of kits, Char's clone. I guess another colony is being dropped, right? Blaze said, I had one guy ask me what it was for. Oh, nice. Enrico says, legend. Hell yeah. Good stuff. Let's see. Blaze says, did you get some Culvers while you were in North Carolina? We did, actually. Yeah, we did. Yeah, one night we didn't know what to do for dinner. We were just, you know, I wanted to go to this one place called, what was it? And I could never get the name right. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, I think is the proper name of it. It's a chain, kind of smallish chain restaurant. Awesome place. If you have one in your area, highly, highly recommend it. Just so good. The food is amazing. But I kind of had a hankering for one of their chicken sandwiches, which is just out of this world. But Renee wanted burgers and she wanted Culver's, so I was just like, all right, yeah, I'm good with that. So we got Culver's one night, and yeah, so freaking good. Got their butter burger with cheese and some chili cheese fries, and we shared a little thing of like the little pretzel bites. Oh my god, it was good. Yeah, it was super good. Super good. So yeah, Culver's was enjoyed one evening for dinner. So hell yeah. All right. So with that being said, you guys, let's get busy. Let's go to camera 2. And let's get the eyes on here. All right. So, if you remember, last week we were working on this guy, one of the boosters, and we got all this stuff done here. Let me crack that off of there. And then what we were working on last time was plating up this kind of back section here. And I got both sides plated last Thursday, and got one on stream, one done off stream, obviously. But yeah, so there is that. That's looking pretty good. Everything's nice and even, looking nice. So what I think we're gonna do today is actually jump on the front end here. You can kind of see I have a bit of a scribing pattern kind of marked out on the piece here. Now, the one thing about the front section that I'm not a big fan of, and I'll show you on this piece, are these little raised details right here that Bandai kind of, you know, put in, and I'm just, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. They're just not great, you know what I mean? They're not great. So we're going to, I already eliminated one on this side, nice and clean. Did that with just a file and then the little God hand file plate thing. So I already started kind of doing that to this side. You can still see some remnants there, especially, yeah, right there in the highlights. You can see it right there. So we're going to eliminate that first. We're going to go through and file that down, and then hit it with the God hand plate just to make it nice and neat here. And then we'll start scribing this pattern in here. All right, so that's enough with the file. Let's get the plate here to really make this nice and smooth. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. All right, so now I had this insert piece here to give this front part, you know, some rigidity so it wouldn't bow and flex and all that while I was trying to file it. So we're going to remove this guy here because we don't need him in the mix. Now, what we got going on here are some 3-line kind of patterns here and up here closer to the front part. And then we've got some, you know, just some simple horizontals there across the top. Technically it's the side if you're really, you know, being a stickler about it, but that's neither here nor there. All right, so with that being said, let's get some of this other stuff out of the way here so we can kind of get to work. And then we need to find just a 0.15. Here it is. All right, so we got our 0.15. That's what we're going to be working with here the most. Now, what I think we're going to end up doing here, using a gang of scribing jigs. Now, for this side, what is this, 2.5? Yeah. All right, so we're gonna need our 2.5 millimeter scribing jig, and then not that one. Let's see. That's 4.5. But I'm thinking it might be 5 would be better. Oh, that's not 5. Come on now. Yeah, no, 4.5 is good. All right, so basically what we're doing is I'm using the scribing jigs here to measure up this line, right? And this first corner here hits it right at 2.5 millimeters. Where's my little pointer? Jeez. Put a bell on this thing, I swear. There it is. All right, so right here, this first little corner right here, the height from the bottom hits at about 2.5 millimeters. So that's why I've got my little 2.5 millimeter scribing jig right there to make that vertical line. And then this next corner hits at about 4.5 millimeters. So that way we can easily connect those at a constant measurement on both sides, right? So I can just swing this guy around, do the same thing from this side, and then both will be perfectly even at that point, right? So that's the idea of it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with that. Again, 0.15 for the panel lines. Let's do it. All right. Now, we can always just rest the scribing jig right up against this inside corner here, but I don't want to do that because I want to leave a little bit of room for this panel line to look, you know, realistic here and look like it's supposed to be here. So what we can do is insert that chisel right there into the corner itself and then bump the scribing jig right up against it, and then you have a perfect space to make all of this look really, really good. All right, so now that we've got that, now we just have to get this line carved in here, and there we go. of course, we wrap it around. Cannot forget that. That's one of the underrated, most looked over techniques, is to wrap the panel line around the surface. All right, good deal there. Now we need to let's see, we need to get the 4.5 in here, and then what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just lightly scratch. There we go. Just a line in there so we know exactly where that needs to take place. Now, what I'm going to incorporate then next, 6.5, gonna do that. No, it's not. All right, so we're gonna need to involve one of these other ones here. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing a random, 45 degree scribing jig here, and what I'm doing is I'm just using this vertical edge here on it. So as long as it's long enough, that's all that matters at this point. All right, good deal. Now it should be 2 millimeters from the line right there. All right, perfect. So now we have our constant vertical. We have our little scratch in there to give us a determining end to this line. So just bring that down. Just like that. Spin that around, very good. And there we are. All right, so we've got our 2 vertical lines. Now we need our diagonal. So for that, I mean, honestly, you can just grab any little scrap piece that is straight and do this. It doesn't really matter because you're just connecting these 2 endpoints. Right there. Go. Very good. Very clean. Very, very clean looking. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. So I know it's hard to see with the pencil marks there, but we'll sand this off and we'll show you the actual lines here, but it is nice and clean. All right. We'll leave the dust in there so you can see it a little bit better, but there's that line, right? So let's get you really nice and close. Super sharp corners. That right there, the super sharp corners, that's the key to a really, really crisp, nice looking scribing job. And to do that, the most important thing what I see a lot of people do when they're talking about scribing and things is they'll go through the entire pattern in one continuous motion. I'm not a big fan of that, simply because that does tend to round the corners, you know, in your scribing pattern, which is not great. That's not what you're looking for. What you need, and what I always tend to do, is go at these lines one segment at a time, right? And then if you do have to pivot, take the chisel out and put it at the end point and then scribe out there, right? So again, just super sharp, right? Super, super sharp. Looking really good. All right, we need to do the same thing on the other side, so we can properly connect this, you know, these horizontal lines here. Because this is the key, since this piece tapers from the bottom up, if we put our scribing jig on here, it's going to be angled slightly. It's not going to be straight across as if it were on, you know, a completely square piece. So if we were to try and scribe this line across, it would be good on, you know, at this side of the line, but then it would be like a millimeter off on this this corresponding side. So we don't want to do that. So at this point, the only way to get a really, really nice straight line here is to carve in the two sides and then just connect them, you know, with a straight edge. So let's go ahead and get that done. Now, again, we are going to use the chisel itself as kind of a stop here. Okay, that looks good. Line is set. Okay, good. And then, of course, wrap that around. Jolly good. All right. And then, again, what we're going to do is we're going to get this 4mm scribing jig in here, and then we're just going to lightly scratch in that 4.5mm, and that's going to give us a good end point. All right, so, and then we want this next line to be exactly 2mm from our first line here. Now, let's see, right there. All right, cool. So, all right, got our line set. That looks good. once I get this done, I'll catch up in the chat here. I know there's a little bit of chat. All right. Right there. All right, good deal. Alrighty. Now, get this line to depth. Looking good so far. All right, very nice. All right, get this sanded down. Very nice. Yeah, clean. Clean, clean, clean. All right, so there's the other side. Looking good. Looking good. Matchy, matchy. And then we can just connect the two now with a straight edge, and we'll do that here in a moment. Let's get caught up in the chat here just real quick. Let's see. Gio says, after the real grade tall geese, I was going to do the real grade Sazabi, but I found the RW 100, the RE 100 Bawu really cheap, and since I since I have the Lindworm, I think, and the RE 100 Bawu. Okay, nice. Oh, Bawu, yeah. Okay, I got it finally. He says, now I have 3 out of 4. The last one is the mass production type. It's crazy expensive, but I'll wait on that one. Yeah, I mean, it's just a recolor. Bill says, nice, Gio. The Rebawu was one I wanted to pick up for Kit Bash parts when it came out. Never managed to snag one. The Rebawu is awesome. I have that. I actually have the Rebawu in my backlog. Really, really good looking kit. Apex Nerds with us. He says, hey, hand splint is off. Nice. Nice, dude. He says, wrist is still stiff, but it's finally off. Very good. And at least 2 weeks of physiotherapy to go. Okay. Okay. See, dude? Steps in the right direction, man. Steps in the right direction. I like that. I like that. Enrico says, good stuff, man. Splints suck. Yeah, they do. Brian's with us. Mr. Lelouch. He says, afternoon, everyone. Brian, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. All right. So we're all caught up. Let's get back to it. And, all right. So the next thing we need to do, like I said, is to connect these two lines. And to do that, we need to just get something straight, a straight edge. So I'm just going to use this 0.5 millimeter scribing jig. And what we're going to do is just very, very carefully line these up so that they will connect. Nice. All right, I think that's where it needs to be. So I'll just do one initial light pass and see. Maybe another one just to... Yeah, that looks good. All right, cool. So now we just get this line set in here. And you could do that with tape. I just like to move a little bit quicker. So that's why I used just a scribing jig to line it up here. But yeah, I mean, you could much, probably easier, just use tape, but I just like to wanted to move quickly at that point. All right, nice. All right, so what we need to do next is to kind of scribe this pattern here, which I probably should have used scribing tape at that point, but what's done is done. It's not a big deal. How wide is this? Let me see. That is 7.5 millimeters. All right, so what we need to do, let's see what we've got in here. See if we have anything in here that fits the bill. That'll probably work. Yeah, okay. That'll work. That will work. All right. So we need a 7.5 millimeter wide, right? So let's get this piece cut here. 7.5 millimeter wide by 3 millimeters in overall height, right? So to do that, we can just take 3.2 millimeter strip, just use this as our constant guide, and that way we know exactly that we're, right on 3.2. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get this cut. There we go. Did that make a clean cut? Yeah, okay. It did. All right, so we'll put this piece off there. Now, this is 3, so we need by 7. So what is the current width here? This is 10.5. So let's set this at 7.5. Right about there. Lock that in. And let's get this little guy cut. I'm gonna use, for safety, use our little toothpick guy here. And then now we have our 7.5 by 3 millimeter stencil, right? But we need to cut in the bevels to this thing first. So for that, I want a nice little 0.5 millimeter bevel on each corner. So what we need is a 1/4 millimeter strip to act as our guide here. Yeah, that's 1/4 mil. All right. Because remember, when you're doing bevels on the chopper, it's always half the distance to the blade. So for a 0.5 millimeter bevel, you want to use 1/4 millimeter spacer. For a full millimeter, you want a 0.5 millimeter spacer. So that's kind of the way that it works. All right, and then get our 45 in here. Now again, this is such a small little piece. I don't want to go holding this with my hands, so I'm going to use my little bamboo skewer pointer deal here. Hold that right up against there. Snip the corner, and yeah. So there you can see. Yeah, there we go. Snip the corner right off. Really nice. All right, perfect. So now we just flip this over and chop the other corresponding corner here. Boom. And then that leaves us with 2 perfectly beveled corners. Now I want to, obviously this one corner over here looks like an absolute mess, but you know, that's to be expected. Not a big deal. As long as it's cut, that's what matters most, and it looks good. All right, so we've got our little stencil for this thing. We're gonna put the chopper off to the side, and we're going to get the backing peeled off of here. All right, and then get this thing placed. That looks pretty good. Yeah, cool. All right, so press that into place. There we go. All right, so now we just outline scribe this thing. Use this, like I said, as a stencil. very good so far. Man, I'll tell you what, the difference between this plastic and the semi-transparent plastic of the armor is just night and day difference. This is so much easier to scribe through. Now while we're going around this stencil, one thing I think I should probably mention is the direction in which you scribe your lines, right? So for me, I'm right-handed. I will work in a counterclockwise fashion. And the reason why is so that I know exactly where to start the line, and then all really I have to worry about on the back end of the line is connecting it to the previous line that I scribed in, right? So you get a lot better control by going in the opposite direction of your dominant hand. So, like I said, since I'm right-handed, I will scribe counterclockwise around a piece. If you are left-handed, reverse it and go clockwise. And then once the pattern is in there, it really doesn't matter because everything's connected and it's fine. But for initial scribing, that's just a good rule of thumb. Best practice. All right, that looks really good. Let's clean this guy up. It's always a good idea to go in the opposite direction anyways, just to even out the lines and everything. There we go. Very nice. All right, let's get this guy sanded down. Some of this dust is being a little stubborn, so sometimes you got to get in there with the chisel again and just kind of get that stubborn crap out of there. There we go. That's nice and clean. Actually, this one corner still got a little crud in there. There we go. Much better. All right. So, there you are, right? Looks good. Looks good. Very nice. Very, very nice. So, and as you can see, those lines are connected all the way around. Looking nice and clean. Yeah. Tight. And that line right here hits perfectly in that corner because remember we used the chisel as a kind of like a spacing guide right there to make that look good, and that's on both sides. Yeah, real nice. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Alrighty, so let's see here. Brian, he says, how was your weekend, Tim? Hope you had a good time here in North Carolina. Dude, I did, yeah. We had a great 4 days. Just had a lot of fun hanging out, eating good food and, you know, all that stuff. So, yeah, man, it was way too short. It was way too short, but, you know, our visits always are. But the good thing is that, oh, hey, there we go. Cajun Godfather 82, what's going on? Welcome to the family. Thank you for the follow there on Twitch. I appreciate that. Very, very good stuff. Awesome. But, yeah, man, like, you know, it's always too short visiting Renee. And, you know, she's going to be back here next month for like a week. When when Amber goes off to college, and yeah, we're gonna get Amber off to school, and then you know, since I'll probably be a complete wreck, she'll be here with me and kind of, you know, emotional support fiance, right? So that'll be nice. That'll be nice. So, but and then after that, shit, we probably won't have many visits to go until it's permanent. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. But yeah, great weekend. Great weekend. Yeah. Eris is with us. He says hello, Tim in chat. What's going on, dude? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good stuff. All right, let's get back on this, yeah, because we're making good progress. What time is it? It's only 1 o'clock. Sweet. Okay. We've gotten a good amount done here. Very nice. All right, so we've got our lower scribing pattern set in here. This is all looking good. Actually, nope, I take that back. There was a inner box that I wanted to do there. What's the width on this guy? The width on this guy is too much. That's too, well, yeah, that's too much. Too wide. That's not wide enough. Shit. All right, let's go digging back into the vault here. Ooh, what's this right here? Oh, still got a little stencil stuck there. Actually, boom, I'm gonna grab that little strip right there. That's probably 1.5 millimeter. Let's see. Nope, that's 1 millimeter. All right, cool. That is perfect. And then we can just cut this to length. So let's, this was 7.5. Yeah, that's 7.5. Let's go 6, I think. 6 mil on this little strip. So to make it easier on us, we're gonna pull in the 1, 2, 3 block here. And let's see. Six mil. Right there. All right, that looks pretty good. Boom, right there. All right, perfect. All right, so we're just gonna do a simple box line here. But I just wanted something kind of nice and small. Just kind of as an inset to the piece that we just did. All right. All right, let's make sure that this is nice and centered. Good. Oh, needs to go over just a bit this way. Perfect. All right, that is nicely centered. Let's make sure it's on our line. Right there. Let's get the 1, 2, 3 block out of the way, get that away. All right, cool. So just 3 quick lines and we will be good to go. Now with this size piece of tape, since it's so small, got to be really, really careful with, you know, scribing around it, right? Because it does have a tendency to shift and migrate a little bit. Ooh, wait a minute. What was this? Okay. Hoping it was my shirts. Hoping it was my shirts, but I don't think it was. Say Luppy. Okay. That looks pretty good and straight. All right. All right, good. Yeah, very good. Very good, very good, very good. All right, so there is our nice little box scribe. Yeah? Perfect. All right. Woo! Okie dokie. So, let's see. Brian says, I was going to message you earlier, Tim. I have a cousin who is head of TSA at CLT. I should have told him to mess with you. Oh, man, I was hard to miss because I had my Mecha Army shirt on yesterday. He says, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. It's all good. Bill says, yeah, then he could have received the special treatment. No cavity is too big or small for investigative purposes. Jesus. Brian says, LOL, they'll check all of his seam lines. Oh, man, you guys. I feel the love. I feel the love. Good shit. Good shit. All right, cool. So now we've got our, lower scribing pattern set in here, right? The next thing I want to do is get the upper pattern set in, and we're going to do much the same type of techniques as the lower side here, but just on a smaller scale. So let's see, that's, I'm thinking maybe 2, no, 1, 5, 1, 5, there it is. Yeah, 1.5 will be the lower, and then we'll go 2.5 here for the upper. Yeah, that should be good. Now, the main thing that we need to make sure of is placement for this lower line, because that's going to determine every single line after that, right? And also on this side, and it's also going to determine how straight, our horizontal line is on the top side. That's hugely important. So we need to take a measurement here from the corner, from that inside corner, and we're gonna go 27 millimeters. And 14 from the front edge. 27 and 14. 27 and 14. So this is 27. That's 14. All right, cool. So we have our constant dimensions there that we can kind of, measure off of. Okay. Let's get this guy back in here so we can kind of have a base so that we can make some marks here. Okay, so 10, 20, 7. Oh, no, that's not it. Okay, hold on. $10, $20. Oh no, that's, what am I? Hold on. Oh, that's okay. Shit. All right. I'm looking for the pencil mark and I see this pencil mark here, and that's just from the 4. Shit. Okay. That's why it's all kind of out of whack. I was wondering, what the hell am I doing? All right, let's try that again. All right, so we got 10, 20, 7 should be right there on the money. Perfect. All right, and then we'll swing this guy off to the other side here. It might be easier for me to do it this way. Actually hold it like this. Rest the ruler on the 1, 2, 3. No matter how you cut it, this is awkward as shit. Alright, so we got 10, 20. Alright, that looks pretty damn straight, all things considered. And then this should be 14 on the money. Sweet. Alright, so we have our starting points for our bottom lines. So, with that said, we're going to get our 1.5 in here. And I'm going to go ahead and do just a little light scratch right there. And then I'm going to get our 2.5. Do the same thing there, just so we have our upper and lower kind of border determining lines there. All right, and then for width on this thing, we'll go 2 millimeters, but we'll jump that hurdle in a second here. Okay, get that line set there. Good. All right, so now what we're gonna do, that'll work. So I need to do it, I need to put the scribing jig on this side because I don't have enough room on the opposite side. For the for the jig to be in the in the proper place and orientation here. So kind of sucks because we're basically working right on the very tip of this thing, which is not a great scenario, but gotta do what you gotta do. Good deal. Okay. All right, so actually, I want that line a little bit closer there. All right, so yeah, we're only going to go 1 millimeter then. All right, change of plans slightly then. Cool. All right, do the same thing on this side here. Good. All right, so now we have our width. Now we can go ahead and carve in our upper line on this side. I'm going to go ahead and put the insert in here to give this thing a little bit more rigidity, because it is, I can feel it flexing. Oh, that's the wrong one. There's the right one. The last thing I want to do is break one of these end pieces off here. Cool. All right, excellent. So now we can just connect these two lines together. Let me get just a little piece of scrap plastic here, which is nice and straight. Okay. All right, I think we got the first one done here. Cool. That matches up real nicely with my initial design. Nice. Yeah. Clean. Clean. All right. Rock and roll. All right. So let's get caught up here real quick. Bill says 3, 2, 1, and Tim's phone gets a notification. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Sir, we need you to come in. We need to ask you a few questions. Ay. Brian says, did you remove the propellant tank? Yeah, just to work on. They're still going in there. They still got, the little insertion holes there and all that for them. So, yeah, just to work, we're getting them out of the way, basically. Yeah, Bill says tanks will be reattached. Right now, they would just make it more awkward to work on the rest. Yeah, exactly. Brian says, that's what I thought, because that just fit perfectly in that spot. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Bill says, I feel that when Tim is painting this guy, he needs an off-center rally stripe, the single thick and thin stripe that goes down one side of the chest, maybe matte black or that copper color. Huh. That's not bad, actually. I'm not gonna lie, that's not bad. I could totally do that. I could totally do that on the chest here. Kind of like, see, Bill, now you got me thinking here, buddy, which is always dangerous. shit, that actually would look really good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That would actually look really good. You can kind of see my, you know, rough, sketchy concept. You know, have that kind of thicker line here and then a thinner line on the other side. Yeah, that wouldn't look bad, honestly. That would not look bad at all. I kind of dig it. I like that idea. Shit, I could even scribe, you know, the lines in there and everything and get it really nice and crisp. Yeah. And maybe what I do, hang on one second. Hang on one second. Hang on. Bingo. Here we go. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Ah, shit. It's a bingo! As Hans would say. Alright. Let's see. This. Let's go camera one for this so you guys have a better view of what this bin is. This bin is all decals. All sorts of different decals. Yes, Mecha Decals, but we also have Hyaku decals in here. What the fuck is this? Oh, these are Bandai these are Bandai stickers that I would scan in and redraw and everything. But I do have, you know, some Bandai water slides in here. Yeah. Here's some interesting ones there. But there are specific decals that I am looking for. No, not those. Let's see. These are all Mecha decals. Those are all wonderful, but not what I'm looking for at this point. So we got some military decals and stuff in here, but again, not exactly what I'm looking for. But it may come through in a pinch. They may come through in a pinch. There's a specific sheet that I am looking for in here. Yeah. See, we got letters in yellow. Ooh, that's badass. Huh. This is the 8th Tactical Fighter Wing, Kusan Air Force Base. These are Gunsmoke 85, but oh shit, I guess I gotta hold it up here. The wolf head insignia is on the, get this in front of my noggin there so it focuses on this. That's badass. That's cool as shit, right? Might have to use that in a future project. I don't know what, but it'll be pretty dang cool. That's not what we want. Let's see what we have here. Alright, so we've got some Ocean Spirit decals here. These are pretty nice. These are by the same company that make the little photo etch pieces and stuff. No, I don't. Xeon. No, I don't want Xeon and stuff. No. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. That's going to be too big. Fuck a duck. All right, we'll hold on to that and for, you know, a second or two. But yeah, you know, look at that. All these freaking Hyaku decals and stuff. I still love Hyaku decals. Don't get me wrong. They are the competition. But they make really good decals. Not as good as Mecha Decals anymore because they used to use Cartograph, but they don't use Cartograph anymore, which is weird. Oh boy. Oh boy. Man. Okay. Those you guys don't need to worry about. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, here we go. Now we're getting into the good shit. The custom printed decals that I used to make back in the day with my old Alps printer, which I do not have anymore. Don't ask. Technically I have it, but I don't have any ink, so... And it also only runs on, like, Windows XP. So, yeah. Don't even think about asking for customs, because I can't do it. Alright. But yeah, see, look. This is what I used to do back in the day on that Alps printer. Look at that. Here, let's go camera 2 so you can actually freaking see. But yeah, that's the quality I used to print at. It's pretty good. It's not great because the problem with the Alps printer is that it never laid down really solid colors, so you kind of get that kind of dithering striped halftone pattern in some of these. And mind you, it's not too bad except for certain colors like this one. You know, a lot of it is half decent, but yeah, I mean, that's just part of the Alps setup here. You know, the blacks are super solid. I mean, you can see just the color there in the Titan symbol. It's striped all the way through, and that's just to get the proper color, right? The Alps had a hard time getting, you know, those solid colors and everything. And then Julius, there you go, buddy. But again, you can see that kind of half-toning dithered effect there, right? It's not great. It's not a great look. It's what we had back in the day, you know. And trust me, we were happy with it back in the day. A lot of people were overjoyed by this, you know, this stuff. Now, yeah, so here is, I think this was a full armor, no, this was a Phaz, full armor double Zeta, and the gray, oh, see, it's striping on camera, but that's all, and if I move it, you can kind of see how it, you know, is a little bit more solid, and that's kind of how it looks. But it's striping on camera for some reason. I think it's just, you know, the stripes itself in the sheet is causing issues with the camera, but, you know, c'est la vie. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, here we go. This was always a good sheet. And this was a completely finalized perfect sheet too. So I'm gonna have to save this for you know, when I do a new Gundam. But there you go. That looks really good. Yeah. Yeah. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Yeah. So that's the type of shit that I used to print on the old Alps, which was just good stuff. But there's one sheet that I'm looking for in particular here. Aha. Ah, fuck. That's too big as well, probably. Smaller than the Bandai ones, but still. What would be a good width for this stripe here? What, maybe 4? Yeah, about 4 millimeters. This decal here is way over 5. This decal here is just a little under 5. Yeah, so that sucks. That sucks. But we have some good decals on here, maybe for the shield or something like that. So, you know, we got some Shiki signs there. Hyaku Shiki in some nice script. Different things, different insignia. Anaheim, of course. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. So I'll save this sheet. This is the one that I was looking for. Save this. Yeah, and save this shitty Bandai sheet too. So, all right. Sorry, kids. I kind of got off on a tangent there, because Bill had mentioned the racing stripe and all that. So I kind of got excited with the idea. I do like that. I think that would look really good. But yeah, we kind of got sidetracked there. Just a wee moment. All right. So let's see. Bill says, I mean, it could just go down the chest. No need to have it run the full length of the mech. Oh, yeah, yeah. And I think it would look cool, you know, just right there on the chest, too. And I think, you know, what you would need, I think, would be a high contrast color, right? So we're going to have white decals on this thing, you know, sprinkled throughout. So I think it would be cool to have, you know, this chest piece in that, you know, dark, you know, carbon color. This, the 40th anniversary, the graphite black, right? That kind of color, right? And I think these stripes here should probably be white, is what I'm thinking. I think that would look really freaking cool. Just have a white stripe right down the front. And then what I was thinking, but I don't think it's doable at this point, is have the little Hyaku Shiki kanji symbol in, you know, in the middle of the bigger stripe down near the bottom of the chest. I thought that would look cool, but I don't think that's going to be possible at this point, simply because of the size of the decals and everything that I have. And I don't want to go get any more, or buy anything, or have anything made, or any of that crap. That's not going to happen. But we'll figure it out. We'll still do the racing stripe regardless. I think that's a great idea. But in terms of you know, having anything in the racing stripes, well, that's going to remain to be seen at this point. So yeah, all right, cool. I will definitely keep that idea in mind. I'm going to keep the the pencil marks on the chest, so I remember to do that, you know? Yeah. Anywho, let's get caught up here real quick, yeah? Bill says, announcer voice activates. Don't forget to get your Blue Bone shirt, hoodie, or stickers today at the Child of Mecha shop. There you go. Enrico says, well, not going to work in 30 as usual due to the orange warning. Oh, shit. So Enrico, orange warning, is that, air quality? Is that, I'm guessing, because that's basically what it would be here in the States, you know? Let's see, Enrico says, not as lucky as Blaze, though, as I still have to work, but the lesson will be online. Hey, at least I'll stay home until the second lesson of the afternoon. Woo! Nice. Let's see. Bill says, yeah, that looks good. Yeah. Bill says, nice, Enrico, take care. Yeah, definitely. Enrico says, maybe that line could have a gap for a number. That'd be killer and very racing car-esque. Yeah, see, I was also thinking maybe along those lines too, because I do have very small numbers, right? But they'd have to be very small. As I say that, look what I notice right there. Right there. And mind you, I would cut off the MSN-00 and just have the 100 in there. So we're thinking maybe 4mm wide on the thicker racing stripe. That 100 is maybe 2.5mm. Fuck a duck. Yeah. As I say that, I noticed this on here. That, my friends, is what they would call serendipity. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking at these Bandai water slides. My God, the carrier border is huge on these things. And by the carrier border, what I mean is the amount of the clear carrier film between the actual design and the the end border of it. And it makes no rhyme or reason. There's no consistency here either. I'm kind of curious. Like 0.5 millimeter? Yeah. Sheesh. On some of them, it's even bigger than that, which is kind of crazy. Like this Aug. Yeah, that's almost a full millimeter border around there. That is nuts. That is nuts. Mecha Decals, I think I use a 1/4 millimeter carrier border, just to keep everything nice and tight, because you need at least, I think Cartograph stipulated at least a 0.15 millimeter border around the design. I played it safe and went for a 1/4 millimeter just to be nice and even and everything, right? Yeah, Bandai's is massive. Let's see. Enrico says, thanks, Bill. Hell yeah. Ranger Chris, hold that sheet up. I think I have that sheet. Oh, the The Wolf's Head one, I think. Yeah. Bill said, nice. Ranger Chris, think you need to organize your decals, maybe move it to a hanging folder system so you can categorize them for easier finding of things. Oh, dude, yeah. It's a lost cause at this point. It's a lost cause. I don't know. Bill says, well, Windows XP can be run in an emulator. The issue is the ink. Oh, yeah, and good luck finding that for a reasonable price. Oh, dude, yeah, no. It's all gone. It's all used up. So it's, yeah. Ranger Chris says looks almost like a dot matrix printer. Yeah, because the Alps printer is a thermal sublimation style printer. So it has similar to the old kind of typewriter ribbons. It had ribbons of ink that it would thermally press into, the paper and all that. And that was what made it ideal for water slide decals, is because it wasn't necessarily your traditional liquid ink. It was thermally pressed in there. It was basically sublimated. So that's what just really made it completely the perfect thing to use to print, custom water slides and everything. And it, mind you, that printer ink, and I call it ink, but that printer ink was hard to get back in the, mid 2000s. Now, 20 years later, it's next to impossible. I've looked, but yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Let's see. Charles Dodge, Mr. Greek Knockos, he's over there on Twitch. He says, "Ack, almost missed the stream, got hung up on a personal project." Charles, dude, it's all good, man. Life be lifin', as we always say. And, life always comes first. Life always comes first. Bill says, I know I couldn't get custom water slides. Instead, I learned to cut out my own stencils and just painted my own images. He says, Tim, I can look through my water slides from Warhammer and see if I might have, if you would like, just give me an idea of what you're looking for, and I will take a look. Aw, Bill, thank you, buddy. I think we got it licked at this point, because I think instead of the Shiki symbol, this guy here, and I know, what is that? I think that's a symbol for 100 in kanji. I think that's what that is. But I just refer to it as the Shiki symbol, like just in a euphemistic sense. But instead of that, I kind of like Enrico's idea and just using kind of the 100 there in the middle of that big stripe. I kind of dig that idea. So, Enrico, good call there, buddy. Good call. Yeah, there we go. And C says, Enrico says instead of the number 100 marking in kanji, you could have it in Arabic numbers in a racing car type font. Yeah, exactly. Brian says a small Mecha decal like for sponsorship would be funny too. What is really funny, I'm not going to pull it out, but the that new Gundam sheet, I actually had a whole list of companies that basically I theorized put in on the creation of the new Gundam and everything. But it's on that sheet, and I envisioned it running down the side of the shield for the new Gundam. So yeah, it is kind of funny though. Enrico says I meant orange weather warning due to storms. Oh, I gotcha. Yes, the 100 in Arabic numbers. There you go. Then it looks more like a racing car, right? Bill says, I think I have some stripes on Warhammer decal sheets. I believe I have white, black, yellow, and black, yellow stripe lines. Actually, I believe I have this any sort of like racing stripes covered on the Mecha Decal sheets. I believe the first sheet had a nice little stripe. Yeah, here we go. And this is, mind you, this is the 144. I would use the 100, but yeah, down there at the bottom, and it's the, yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. The camera's actually picking that up now. So that kind of diagonal stripe pattern, totally dig that. Totally dig that. And that's right there. Oh, come on, focus, you little bastard. Mecha Decal sheet number 1 there for you kids playing at home. But I appreciate the thought, Bill. And I also got a bunch of other sheets here too, especially those military sheets that I bought, have a ton of different stripes and everything on it too. So for stripes, I'm pretty good and covered. But I think what I'm going to do for this is probably scribe in the actual, the actual lines and everything, and then that way they're nice and sharp, and then I can panel line them and everything and make them really, really pop at that point too. I think that's what I might do rather than just painting them on. Just make them look really, really, make them stand out more. I think that's what I'll probably end up doing. Brian says, Tim's tolerance is 101. Dude, devil's in the details, buddy. Bill says, nice. Enrico says, yes, Hyaku equals 100, so it's a perfect fit for the speed/racing concept. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Bill says, okay, no worries. Bill, again, thank you, buddy. Derry's with us. Hey, Derry. Miss Derry Defender. She says, hey, everyone. Howdy. Let's see. All right, so we're caught up here. Cool. 154. Let's try to bang out a few more lines here real quick. God, that sounded so bad now that I heard it come out of my mouth. Yeah, we're gonna bang out some lines like it's Miami Vice in the 1980s. Jeez. Oh my God. Dude, what the fuck? Yeah, I heard it. I said it, and then I heard it, and I was just like, yeah, that didn't come out right. It didn't come out right. So, there you go. There you go. All right. Anywho. All right. So, we need to get this spacer out of here so that we have... Come on, you bastard. Oh my God, I'm gonna end up breaking this thing. There we go. There it is. Okay, cool. So we have a surface that we can put our scribing jig on here. All right. So, what was that? No, what was that? No. Where's the 1.5? Where did that go? Okay, there's 2.5. Jeez. We were so interested in looking at decals and everything here, I misplaced all the damn scribing jigs. All right. So there's 1.5 and then 2.5. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. So get the 1.5, do a little scratch right there across. And we'll do the same thing for the 2.5. All right, so now we have our upper and lower determining lines. So for that, let's get this line scribed in here. Good deal. Very good, very good. All right. And that looks damn nice and even. All right, cool. Let's get this wrapped around here. Cool. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so now we need to do the upper line here. And let me make sure that works. Okie dokie. Okay. All right, now that, yeah, that looks pretty damn even from the top perspective there. Very nice. All right, so now let's just connect these 2 points. Right there. All right, perfect. All right, so that side's nice and clean and done. Hell yeah. All right, and then now comes the little bit trickier part. What time is it? 2:01. We'll go a little later because I want to get this top line done here, and 2 other very, very quick lines, and then we'll punch the clock and call it a day. But we'll go just a little longer here for this afternoon. Let me get a drink real quick because your boy's a little parched. Alrighty then. So, with that being said, what we're going to need to do here is be super aware of measurements and lines. going to line this up very nice. We'll just make a little scratch line across there, but that's not going to be where our main scribe line is. In terms of my design, I have these lines coming in about 1 millimeter on either side, and then 45 degreeing down to another level here. So that is going to be the tougher part. We probably are going to need a stencil for that to really figure out where that line is going to be. Okay, yeah, we're gonna need a stencil for that. So, good thing we still have our little strip of Dymo here, right? Now, what kind of width are we looking at here? 5 mil. Okay, cool. 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters. Let's get this cut at 5 fiscal millimeters. Right there. Boom. Okay, so put this off to the side there. Now, what I'm going to have to do is just very carefully cut in some 45-ish degree bevels here on the side. Yeah, that actually looks really dang good. Yeah. Even enough, right? Even enough. Don't hate it. Even enough. All right, so with that being said, let's get this. Let's get that little bit of tape off there. Let's get this guy applied here. Super, super tiny little stencil here. So you got to be very, very ginger with it. All right. Placement needs to be perfect because there's so much going on in this section up here that it's going to be easy to see if something is off, even just a fraction of a millimeter. Surefire way of making sure something is even and all of that, turn it upside down. and look at it from that different perspective, and any unevenness will come out pretty clearly at that point. All right, so we're about one there. Okay, this needs to come over just a hair. One and some change. One and some change. Okay, excellent then. So there we go. All right. I think this is about as good as we're going to get it. Whew. All right, so with that being said, let me 100% make sure. Hang on. Yeah, okay. I'm just pushing in to the plastic to set these horizontal lines first. There we go. All right, so now go around this little stencil very, very carefully. Like I said, these little pieces of Dymo, even though they're great for scribing, there's just not a ton of surface area in terms of the adhesion, so they can easily move around and migrate on you here. So just need to be very, very careful. Get my two diagonal lines set in there first. And we're not going to depth, we're just setting the lines. I'm not going to necessarily risk these panel lines at this point with this stencil being in the way. Okay. All right. So now let's get the stencil out of here. This will be the first indication of how Either we did good or we totally fucked it up. We did good. We did good. Sweet. We did good. All right. Now we go in and we bring these lines to depth. Yeah. All right, cool. Very good. Very, very good. This is looking nice. Come on. Sweet. All right, let's get this thing sanded. And there's two other lines that I'm gonna put on this thing that I think that's gonna really, really make this whole thing come to life. Yeah, that looks pretty freaking good. Just sanding out that little scratch line. There it is. All right. So I'll get caught up in the chat in a second here, you guys. Kind of in the zone right now. In that flow state. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. Come on. Yeah. That is looking really, really freaking good. Yeah. That's... Yeah. That's nice. That's looking nice. Okay, so a couple other lines that I want to do down the sides here, and I'm just going to use a 0.5 millimeter. And basically what we're doing is we're creating kind of a lid effect, and I'll show you here in a second. And these are just going to be simple, just straight lines right from point to point. Yeah, there we go, there we go. Yeah. All right, so this is what I'm talking about for that lid kind of effect, right? So basically, we've got this, straight line going down right here at about half millimeter down, right? So essentially what I'm thinking and what the concept basically is that this panel here is a lid that you can just be, taken off and get into the internals and everything underneath of there. So that I really like. I really, really like quite a lot. So let's do the same thing to the other side, and we'll get this whole design kind of finalized here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. There's that kind of lid simulation. Now, to take this just a little bit farther and to give it a little bit more realism, we're gonna put a couple little notches up in this thing. We're gonna put some notches. Some notches. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those little notches right there just set the whole look off to me. You know? Yeah. I love that look. I love that look. Ah! I love that look. All right. Let's do the same thing to the other side. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That just looks really good. That just looks really, really good in my opinion. Just the addition of those two, of just those two little notches, in my opinion, brings up the quality of the design so much more. Just that little pop of realism, right? And then there's the whole kind of front end together, right? We'll pop this little guy on here just to make it one cohesive deal. But yeah, that looks really nice. I'm digging that quite a lot. Quite a lot. And then I'll go back in here and kind of rescribe that little pre-molded kind of indent there. But man, nice and even. Looking good. Sweet. Woo! There we go. All right. There we are, kids. Let's get caught up in the chat just real quick. Let's see. Come out of my mouth. LOL. He is talking about scribing, not Coke. Yeah, exactly. Think you mean Scarface, not Miami Vice. I mean both. No, Miami Vice had plenty of Coke in it. Yeah, no, it did. And Bill says if it were Scarface, he would be talking about his little friend. And that can be taken a whole new out of context direction. That is true. Jesus. Derry says, had my first session of PT yesterday, physical therapy, cool. Therapist confirmed that I have arthritis. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, Derry. My primary doctor just doesn't want to give me the diagnosis and has been downplaying just how bad my back is. Fuck a duck. Bill says, Derry, is there a benefit for you in your situation in not being diagnosed with arthritis? I know that some insurance carriers and employers will hold it against you. Derry says, I also got an original Space Runaway Ideon poster from 1980. Holy shit, that's cool. Andrew's with us. He says, afternoon. Andrew, how are you, buddy? Bill says, never saw Ideon. Was it good? Let's see. Andrew says, so I was watching another model builder on YouTube last night. He was building a custom Star Trek starship he 3D printed. Didn't do any sandings to remove the print lines, just painted over it. Oof. Man, that's rough. Derry says, Ideon is pretty good. It's almost certainly Tomino's darkest work. Oh, shit. Andrew says, and then he complained when some of the parts showed obvious paint lines. Oh, print lines, yeah. Yeah. I wonder why, right? Buddy. Derry says, insert meme of dude riding bike, puts pipe in the wheel and gets knocked over. Yeah, 100%. Bill says to Andrew, depending on his printer, the print settings I can understand. I mean, 16K resin printers can often print things with no visible print lines, but you have to have it dialed in. Yeah, he used an FDM printer, not sure what brand. Derry says that explains the print lines then, yeah. FDM, dude needs to learn how to use plastic cement or sandpaper to remove those print lines. Yeah. Derry, sounds like it needs to be that you played yourself meme instead. Holy shit, right? Oh, man. Derry says, I've never used 3D printer, but I can't imagine removing print lines from an FDM print is that terribly difficult. I mean, it's just like removing seam lines. I gather from, the models that we work with. But obviously many more of them, and just to try and smooth out that surface. Yeah. Derry says, yeah, that would work better as a meme insert. There you go. Andrew says it's not. When I used to use Shapeways, all it took was a little sanding. Yeah. Let's see. Derry says, I've heard of people using things like Milliput for larger prints. Different things, yeah. Milliput, glazing putty, things like that. Bondo, concoctions of super glue and all sorts of, kind of black magic, things and all that. Let's see. Andrew says he didn't say what type of filament he used, but he did use a 2-part epoxy instead of cement or super glue he normally uses. Oh, interesting. Oh, hey, Derry sent stay hydrated for 550 joules. Derry, thank you. I missed it. Speaking of the joules, on YouTube, the gifted joules on YouTube, I use StreamerBot for a ton of different things. For the Mecha Decal splash, the Mecha Army splash, the We Have a Question, the Buenos Notches, question of the day, the shop, ongoing, repeat announcement and everything, all of that. I use StreamerBot a lot, and they just announced in their next update that YouTube notifications will now be native in StreamerBot, and I'm stupid pumped about it. Obviously, you guys probably don't need to care about that, and obviously unless you stream. But the reason why I'm excited about it is that we can, or I can now move my, the notification things, the slide-ins. I can take those off of Stream Elements and bring those into just local StreamerBot. And then also, they introduced the Joules, the YouTube Joules notification for this next update too, which is something no one else has. So I'm super excited about that. We'll get, kind of the slide-in notifications for Joules, just like it would be for, a subscriber, follower, super chat, what have you. So I'm excited about it. But Derry, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Bill says, sounds like an ABS or rubber like a filament was used then. Why do I keep typing a D at the end of every time I type an, for fuck's sakes? I get it, it's all good. Habit? No idea. Bill says, yay us. Tim said we did good. Let's see. Andrew says, damn, Tim, that nacelle or thruster assembly is looking great. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm super happy with it. Let's go back camera 2. Because I know Julius just came back in from physical therapy. Okay, geez, everybody's in physical therapy. What's up with that? Yeah, so we did all this plating and stuff here last week, but today, we kind of got this, our whole scribing pattern carved in there, and I just think that looks super good. Super, super good. Yeah, that looks, and it all lines up perfectly. Yeah, really, really nice looking there. So, nice, nice empty space, but still detailed. We'll had some, some decals and things in here, just, different locations. But, the good thing is that we're going to have empty space for the eye to kind of rest and, visually, kind of take a break from all the other things that it's looking at, right? So, yeah. Bill says thruster pod. Yeah, that works too. Bird head, Macross cannon, all of the above. Bill says, nah, there is a part that goes in that fork so it won't look like a Macross cannon when it's assembled. Oh, yeah, that little guy, right? That little insert guy right there, yeah. That little guy. Yeah, let's see. Andrew says, interesting tweezer technique there, Tim. Oh, yeah, so I know what you're talking about, Andrew. So the dust that gets caught up sometimes in here, the tweezers, I mean, these are basically super, super pointy, right? So what I'll do if I have stubborn dust in here is I'll just run one side of my tweezer in there just to kind of, you know, break up any clog or anything in there of dust. And then that way it makes it easier for the toothbrush to, you know, clear that out of there. So yeah, it's just something to break up the dust. Let's see. He just called Tim Morris Day from the Time. Heyo, is the purple rain? Is the rain purple in color for you? Jesus Christ. Bill says we're putting nachos up in the thruster. Nice. They are going to be spicy and burnt. So, Andrew says, I'm doing okay, Tim. Better than I was doing over the weekend. My physical therapy from the end of the last week had me walking funny. From the exercises had me working on my thigh muscles. Okay. It's a step in the right direction, though. It's a step in the right direction. Yeah, Julius just said, back from physical therapy. What did I miss? Yeah, Andrew says, damn, how many of Tim's viewers are in physical therapy, right? Jesus. Bill says, daytime streams have a good 5 to 10 regular viewers and some sort of physical therapy or recovery. Yeah. Let's see. N2, is that a Dovin Wolf booster? It is. It is from the Dovin Wolf. You know, highly, you know, customized, but yeah. So this is going to be on the backpack. These are basically, you know, the booster units here, thruster pods, nacelles, whatever you want to call it. Whatever floats your boat. But these are going to be the new hotness on the backpack. So that's essentially what the backpack of the Shiki is going to look like. So that's going to look real nice. Look at those details pop. That's going to look super good on there. Yeah, that's going to look super good. I really, really like it. Yes. Yes. Nope, you need to go back this way, bud. And we're going to ankle you up. There you go. There we go. All right. Derry says yes, but technically it's a silver bullet booster. Oh God, I don't know. I know it's a Dovin Wolf something. Because the kit was donated to me. So I don't know exactly what it was or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, if you guys probably know better than me exactly what model it's from. I just liked the shape of the booster and everything. I thought it looked pretty cool, and it worked obviously really well here with the Shiki design too. Bill says yes, the high grade Dovin Wolf. Yeah, Derry says, what are those Dovin Wolf sleeves colors? What are those Dovin Wolf sleeves colors? Not the silver bullet colors? Wait, oh yeah, I'm not sure. Bill says it is the HGUC 160 Dovin Wolf unicorn version. Okay. Let's see. Andrew says, when I first saw the live stream when Tim came back, I thought he was using the nacelles off of a Rick Diaz. Oh yeah, those would be huge, right? Derry says, gotcha. The silver bullet and Dovin Wolf unicorn version have very similar colors. Yeah, I am not sure, because I don't fuck with high grades. Any of them. Except for kit bashing, obviously, you know. Case in point, right? Unless it's kit bashing, and that would be realistically the only time. But yeah, get this little cover back on so we can kind of get a better. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah, ooh yeah. And once we get the little boosters done, we'll jump back onto the backpack proper and kind of do a little fiddling with the plating and stuff like that, but not a ton. We also have to go about filling these holes right here that we clipped those those hangers there for the clay bazooka and gun and everything. So got to do something with that as well. So that'll be in a later time. We got to get these guys done and detailed first, which we're making great progress. We're making great progress. I think tomorrow night we're going to jump back on the backside here and try to figure out what we're doing with this plating situation. Haven't really got a great idea, but hopefully by then we'll have it figured out and kind of move on from there. So anyway, all right, kids, that is where we punch the clock for today. Now then, if you're out on the interwebs and like we saw before, go get you some. And then also too, if you didn't notice in the chat, the Child of Mecha store is open, shop.childofmecha.com. Go get some t-shirts, some hoodies, hats, stickers. Lots of stickers being sold, so that was really cool to see. And then also posters if you're into that too. So a lot of good stuff. Constantly working on new insignia and stuff like that for drops. So probably no drop this week. We'll probably have one next week. Probably the next wave of Mecha Decal insignias and maybe some other things there too. And then also as well, I'm going to be posting another installment of the Super Secret Project for the members, probably later today, hopefully. And then we'll be back on here tomorrow night at 10 p.m. So come on back for that. And aside from that, kids, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Be safe out there, and also, build something cool. So, all right, stay tuned for the end credits. I will see you kids tomorrow. Bye.